Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome to another Rat Lab podcast episode. Yeah, I'm doing another one of these. It's been a little while. Been a little while since I've done one of these. Why has it been a little while since I've done one of these? I've just been busy with a bunch of other things, like making other videos and other things outside of videos and streams and all that other stuff, life stuff, the usual, right? Also, apologies for any noise you hear in the background, like any fuzziness and the like that you hear in the background. The summer has arrived. The summer has arrived, unfortunately, and that means I have this all. Hold on, let me see here. Yeah, that thing. I have this R2D2 sized AC unit right behind my chair, and it's hooked up to the wall, through a tube, and it's spewing out some nice cold air into the room to make sure, everything is nice and cool in here. Because I hate the summer. I hate the summer so much. Summer is... Okay, so technically, summer is not my least favorite season. Technically. But that's only because spring, for me specifically, is awful. Because for spring, I have allergies, right? Not only pollen, but also for a little thing called cottonwood. And where I live, both are in decent abundance in the spring. So whenever I go outside, to go on, maybe just go on a walk, right? I get exposed to not just the pollen, but the cottonwood all over the place. And I get stuck with a perpetual cold for the entirety of spring and into, the early summer, about now. So I still have a bit of that cold. My nose is still all stuffy and itchy and stuff like that. It's just those allergies all act up in conjunction and make spring even worse for me than than it might be for other people. Whereas summer, for the most part, summer is just hot. Summer is just really hot. So if I didn't have the whole allergy thing going on, I would say summer is absolutely my least favorite season. I would say I hate summer the most, and then spring I would be neutral on, because spring, temperature-wise, and actually, in terms of the weather, spring is nice, right? Spring is nice, it's nice and, just warm enough to feel comfortable, not too hot. The wind is usually keeping things a bit more chill. If it is getting a bit hotter, you get spring is when you get the cherry blossoms that start blooming, and there are cherry blossoms everywhere where I live. So that just looks beautiful, right? So yeah, spring is nice in terms of actual weather and temperature, but for me personally, my allergies try to kill me every spring. So It's not nice for me, unfortunately. So yeah, there's that. As for what my favorite season is, because apparently that's what we're doing for the beginning of this podcast episode. It's absolutely winter. The season of winter, my favorite. Absolutely my favorite. I like the cold. I prefer the cold. The AC unit behind me is set to the coldest it can be. Try and keep the room as cold as possible. I like the snow. I enjoy the snow quite a bit. Snow looks nice and feels nice, and it's just... The winter is just very, very nice in general. It's just really, really, really nice. Really nice. I don't know what else to say about it other than really nice. And also, this is why I just prefer cold over hot in general. In that it's so much easier. It's so much easier to, you know, get the right temperature when the air, the room, the whatever is cold instead of hot. You know? Because when it's cold, when things feel too cold, there are a bunch of different ways you can, you know, bundle up and warm up, right? You know, you can just add more layers, to do a little heat up, right? We've created a bunch of methods. Those little pocket things, the little hand warmers, right? It's pretty easy to warm yourself up during the winter, right? You cannot do the opposite. You cannot do the same type of thing with the summer. You just can't. The summer, there's only so much you can do to cool off when things are hot, right? You can't just keep losing the layers, because aside from public decency laws, you will eventually lose the layers. There won't be any more layers to lose unless you start peeling off your skin, at which point you have another problem on your hands. And then, you know, what about ice? You know, ice packs or blocks of ice or cold drinks and stuff. It is all temporary. Those are all temporary measures to stave off the warm weather. They do not last. They're not something that lingers for an extended period of time in the same way that bundling up during the winter does. You know? So, yeah, all of these things combined make winter my favorite season in general. And then, of course, that means in between spring into winter, not spring and summer. I was about to say spring and summer because alliteration. In between spring and winter would, of course, be fall, because, you know, fall is like it's a bit colder. Well, it's colder than summer, not as cold as winter. It just looks nice. There's usually some rain. Rain is nice. Rain is cool. You know, it's very, very alright. Fall is very, very alright. You know, it's very okay. It's not offensive. It's not... It doesn't trigger my allergies. You know? It doesn't set off my allergies. Like they're being set off right now. Even as I'm talking about them. You know? You know, it doesn't set those things off. So yeah. I think that's my ranking from... If I were to make a tier list, winter is S tier, fall is A tier, spring is like, it jumps between B and C tier depending on how my allergies are doing, and then summer is all the way down in F. All the way down in F tier. I can't deal with it. I despise it. I can't do the summer. I just can't. Oh, come on. Why is that? Oh, no. Summer's getting its revenge on me right now. My nose is getting itchy. No, not now. Not now. Oh, Lord. Alright. Well, that's an interesting first 10 minutes of the show. I hope you're entertained by that stupid discussion. I'm grabbing my drink. If you will give me one moment. Let me put that to the side. I have things to talk about. Let me just grab my drink here from my little mini fridge. Yeah, that. And now it's an Arnold Palmer Tall Boy. It's gonna last a while. Let's put this up to the microphone. Put this up to the microphone here, so that way everybody gets to hear Here, get cracked open. Yeah. That's the good stuff. Yeah. Arnold Palmer Tall Boy, let's go. That's good. I have that exact sound turned into, like, from a different instance of me opening a Tall Boy. I have that sound turned into a button on my soundboard. Actually, will it play? Hold on. Yeah, it will. Nice. And that's my Stream Deck soundboard. That's none of that Discord soundboard stuff, but that's my Stream Deck. I recorded that. That's from the that's specifically the can cracking sound from the YouTube short I did about the Arnold Palmer Tall Boy thing. That was from that short I made. Yeah, it was nice. It's nice. But anyway, as far as recent news and developments go, well, for one, I did not expect the Velvedek video to do as well as it has done. I thought it was going to remain at like 20, at most maybe 30 something views. But no, it has exploded. It's, well, exploded by the standards of my channel to 464 views, which is a pretty, like I said, a pretty big deal for my channel. I've gained 9 subscribers out of it. It's crazy. It's crazy. I didn't think my review of Velvedek, of all things, would garner this type of attention. Because Velvedek is pretty obscure. It's decently obscure. Like, it's, you know, it's one of those games that's gathering a very niche audience for itself. I think, granted, I think a lot of people got exposed to it, and then either they got really attached to it, or they dropped off. And most of the people who got exposed to it for the first time got exposed to it through Vinesauce, Vinny. Mr. Vinny Vinesauce himself. He did a few streams where he played Velvedek through to completion, which isn't that hard, mind you. Velvedek, depending on how much of a completionist you are, Velvedek is only like 5-6 hours long, right? So it's not a very long game at all. So it's very easy to beat. But yeah, I didn't expect it to garner all that attention. I guess maybe I kind of should expect it because it's so niche. If that makes any sense. Right? Since it's so niche, that would mean that there's significantly less stuff out there about Velvedek, which would mean that it's far more likely for, you know, just statistically, it would be more likely for people to find my video on Velvedek as opposed to other people's. You know, I would have thought of, you know, thinking on it now, it makes sense. But considering I haven't talked my way through the logic until, like, just now, yeah, okay. It didn't make sense to me before. It does now. But yeah, I still stand by what I said in that video, though. Velvedek is a very interesting, very weird, but also very entertaining game. I enjoyed it a good deal, and I would say definitely, people need to be paying attention to Central Europe more. Poland, Slovakia, basically the Visegrad group, I would say. Aside from, like, Hungary. I haven't seen anything come out of Hungary lately, unfortunately. But, like, most of the Visegrad countries, Czechia, that's what I'm thinking, Czechia. Yeah, like Czechia, Slovakia, Poland. They've been doing a lot lately. They've been pumping out a lot lately. Poland especially. Poland's been going crazy on pumping out games. Not just CD Projekt, right? Not just the CD Projekt stuff, but was it every year at PAX, because I always go to PAX West every year. Haven't had the chance to go to PAX East yet, or PAX South. Again, haven't had the chance. I would like to go to one of those at some point, but like I said, haven't had the chance. But what was I doing? Oh yeah. Every year at PAX West, there is always a big old like booth area set up, demoing a multitude of games, and the games are all supposed to be games by Polish developers. And it looks like it's some kind of program sponsored by the Polish Ministry of Culture or something like that, because it always links to like a Polish government website. So yeah, Poland, the country of Poland, like the government of Poland, is apparently taking a pretty active role in trying to promote its cultural exports to the rest of the world in the form of video games, which I assume they took this directive from the fact that The Witcher exploded, right? And I mean, there's that picture of how, what was it, the Polish president at the time? He was either president or prime minister, I don't remember which. There's that picture of him handing a copy of Witcher 2 to Obama as like a treasure of Polish culture and stuff like this. And when I say a copy of Witcher 2, I don't mean like the second Witcher book. I mean the game Witcher 2. Assassin of Kings. But yeah, I think after the Witcher happened, I think a lot of people in the Polish government might have realized, shit, maybe there's something we can do here. Maybe there's something we can do with this. And so they just start gathering up all the Polish developers, all the Polish game studios, and start like funding them and doing all this stuff with them, trying to get them to pump out games so that they can promote Poland across the world. Which, I mean, hey, it seems to be working. It's smart, right? There was a Polish game I reviewed a while back, The Invincible. The Invincible was by a Polish dev team. I recall it being at the booth. When did I review The Invincible? That was a while back, wasn't it? 4 months ago. 4 months ago. Yeah. The Invincible game. It's by Sarward Industries. They don't even have a Wikipedia page. Oh god, my nose is acting up again. Some of them worked on The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk. So some of them are former CD Projekt. Of course. But speaking of Polish games though, there was one Polish game that I tried, like I demoed at PAX one year. I don't remember which years, 2023, 2022, one of those years. I demoed the Thaumaturge at PAX, and it was interesting. It was cool. I liked it, but then I looked at the system requirements for it, and for some reason, it is not Tau, Thal. There we go, I need to gather it. It's weirdly... It requires a lot. Like, recommended specs. AMD Ryzen 5 3600, 6 core with 3.5 gigahertz. or an Intel i5 10400F 6-core 2.9 gigahertz memory, 32 gigs of RAM. It recommends, the recommended system spec is 32 gigs of RAM for this thing with a with that, and an NVIDIA RTX 3060 Ti, 8 gigabytes as a recommended GPU. It's a little insane what the recommended specs are. Like, minimum specs, it's difficult to go off of minimum specs for a game, right? Because minimum specs for a game are the specs that you need to just barely scrape by, right? Like, for the game to just barely be playable on a system, these are the specs you need for that system. But recommended is what you want if you want the game to run smoothly. If you want the game to run as intended. And so that, for a top-down, like, isometric mystery game, to have graphics that are that intense, I don't know. I question why you'd put all your resources into that, of all things. It's kind of insane. It is kind of insane. Oh boy. Yeah, alright, it just does not make sense to me. Anyway, with that little discussion over, I need to step away from the microphone for a moment, although this thing will keep recording, so I'm going to do some sort of transition in post-editing to transition to when I come back to the microphone and continue to record. And we're back. Hello. Welcome. I know I'm I'm acting like it's a live stream or something, but no, it's absolutely not. You guys won't have noticed any real difference. I mean, you will, because I'll have said this and I'll have done like some little fade out transition or whatever just to get the point across, but you know, either way, it's been a few minutes for me. And since I'm the one recording and I'm the one who's going to do this in post, that's what matters. Yeah. Oh. Whatever. Anyway. But yeah. So, accidentally hit the microphone there. Yeah. Anyway, all that discussion is done with. As for literally anything else, I have been getting into DC again lately. I don't know, I'm like, I mean, I've been getting back into reading comic books more, but I've been reading Valiant comics. That's my comic of choice. But I think just because I have access to it, I've also jumped into, I looked back at Injustice 2, and I even, for the sake of nostalgia, checked out DC Universe Online again just to see that nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. They've just added more stuff. Nothing changed from when I was like 12. It's all the same. It's all the same stuff as before. But yeah, just checking it out for nostalgia's sake, right? And then that got me to remember the Justice League shows and the DC animated movies and stuff, like the DCU movies and like that, right? And so I decided I ended up beginning to go down a rabbit hole of like all this DC media to basically remind myself of what it was all like. Because I remember I had some of this stuff. Like, I'm fairly certain I had like a volume DVD of Justice League animated JLA on me at some point as a little kid, because I remember the art. I remember the animation. There are like vague scenes that I remember, but because it was so long ago and I was such a small child, I don't have that many like specific memories of it, you know? Nothing too specific. And because of the way the art styles transfer over, I could very well just be remembering Justice League Unlimited instead. Right? I could just be remembering that one instead because it's the exact same art style. But I have no idea. But, you know, I found out that Justice League and Justice League Unlimited are both on Netflix. So I decided I was gonna look at that and see, like, oh hey, this is actually pretty good, you know? Like, genuinely, it's coming from someone who doesn't really remember much from when I watched it as a kid. It's pretty good. It is actually pretty good stuff. Like, obviously it's made, you know, for, you know, with kids in mind, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have to be. That doesn't mean it can't be well written. And it is. It's well written. It's well animated. It's done pretty well. I enjoy it. This is also corresponding with me just getting back into watching actual shows lately instead of just YouTube videos. I've had this big backlog of various TV and streaming shows that I've needed to watch, and so I'm finally getting around to actually, you know, watching them, right? Both anime and as well as just like Netflix and other things like that. I brought up Netflix now that I started talking about it, just to look at my, you know, my watch list. I'm like, oh god, there's so much that I need to go through. Oh lord. I still haven't watched Arcane. Arcane's been out for a good while now, still haven't watched it. Probably best that I haven't. I have no exposure to League of Legends. Blue Eye Samurai, still gotta watch that one. Looks awesome. Blood of Zeus, I got a few episodes in. Haven't continued it yet, but it still looks cool. I found out that apparently Archer is on Netflix now, which is pretty funny. So maybe sometimes I'll put that on if I'm like, you know, if I'm if I want to watch a show and really not pay attention to it, right? Could put on some Archer. That would be pretty funny. I got through a bit of Super Crooks. And by a bit, I mean a bit of the first episode of Super Crooks. But then I just kind of clicked away. Or no, I got through one episode. I got through one episode of Super Crooks. One episode. And then a bunch of other stuff that I need to watch. As well as things that I kind of want to rewatch. Like, I want to rewatch Scott Pilgrim Takes Off at some point. I want to rewatch the Shaman King remake at some point, because Shaman King was my shonen as a kid. Was my shonen. Like, you don't understand, man. That was my show. You know how people, people like us, we grew up with, one or two particular shonen anime that we really took to on TV, right? There was the Naruto kids, the Dragon Ball kids, the One Piece kids, etc., who are still those things now, of course. Yu-Gi-Oh kids, sometimes, stuff like that. I was a Shaman King kid, which is not normal. It's not normal. Shaman King was not ever really that big, but I liked it. I thought it was cool. And in fact, I not only watched the show, but I ended up reading through the whole manga and getting very sad when I realized that the creator had apparently come to like an agreement with Jump to just end the manga on a cliffhanger because of the creators, like the mangaka's declining health. They just couldn't keep up the schedule anymore, so they made an agreement to just leave it on a big cliffhanger, which always disappointed me as a kid. But now there's this new Shaman King, like a remake of Shaman King, basically, on Netflix that actually gives it, it not only rewrites things to be a bit more proper, if you will, or rewrites things to be maybe a little more coherent sometimes. Because, gonna be honest, some of the adventures in the original show were a little bit nonsensical. But yeah, as well as primarily it just gave the story an ending. You got to see the characters all grown up after the big incident, after the big old fight. You got to see the aftermath and the characters grow up and become who they wanted to be in that whole thing, right? What their lives are like after the great tournament. And it's through that I realized, apparently, years ago, it was like a number of years after the original Shaman King manga concluded, that Shaman King got like a sequel series. Like the creator decided he was going to come back and do a sequel series, which is interesting. I'm not sure if it's out in the West yet, but if it becomes widely available in the West, I might take a look at it. I might have to look out for it. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other things I need to go through and watch, rewatch, etc. And same thing with video games. A whole bunch of things I need to play, replay, etc. I need to keep going through my Mass Effect stuff. I need to play through On Guard some more, which I'll probably do on stream, since it seems to be pretty decent for a stream game. I need to play through some more Fallen Aces. I got Fallen Aces. It seems pretty fun. I just need to play through it more. I think I had some initial difficulties playing it, and I think that mainly just came down to the fact that I went in thinking it was going to be a boomer shooter, when it's not. It plays like a boomer shooter, but it's more akin to like half boomer shooter, half immersive sim, I guess you could say. Because there's like, your goal is to reach, a certain area within a zone, right? But then there's all this stuff in the environment that you use against enemies, as well as your fists. You don't just, grab guns and shoot and run through corridors and stuff. Environments are semi-open, with multiple ways to go around places and enter certain buildings and things like that. Again, almost like an immersive Sims. Kind of like if you were like Deus Ex mixed with Doom. It's weird, but it seems like it works. Obviously, there's only one episode of it out right now, so we'll have to wait and see to get a better idea of how everything ends up panning out. But yeah, and also, of course, it's a New Blood game, so Gianni Matrigano he's voicing in it. Obviously, every time I see his name now, I just kind of chuckle, because I know it means there's going to be a voice in the game somewhere, or multiple, where I hear it and I'm not going to be able to not hear Gianni. not gonna be able to not hear Gianni and his, the memes, the meme stuff that he'd post, right? So, yeah. It's a whole lot of just stuff. And what else? Frankly, as far as video games go, it's not that much else. I participated in a game jam. That was a while ago. I participated in a game jam. That's what the whole owl spotting trailer thing is on my channel. That's what that whole thing was. That was a game jam. That was the game that I ended up making for a game jam with 3 other people. One programmer, one music, one audio designer / musician, and one artist. Combined with me as a programmer and designer. We made that little owl spotting game in like 2 weeks as a prototype. We haven't really done anything with it since. I think we all wanted to just take a break from it all, and maybe we all got busy ever since. But yeah, that's what that was about. Victoria 3, as of recording this, Victoria 3's new Spheres of Influence DLC came out yesterday, and it seems like Victoria 3 is definitely getting way better. Way better. I just have an issue with the... how to describe it? Trying to figure out what I'm doing. Like, I get they made the game a bit more open-ended and not railroady, which is good. You know, not everything has to be, Hearts of Iron 4 focus trees or whatever, right? But at the same time, though, it's like, I don't know. Sometimes the sandbox can get to be a little too much, and it feels like I don't know what I'm trying to do, in a way. And maybe that's just because a lot of countries are still very lacking in terms of flavor, right? Like, I tried playing Two Sicilies, and because I wanted to try and, unite Italy and then do something with that, right? Create like an Italian power block, But there's just I don't know, the game doesn't, there's no real series of events or things you can do, at least that I could find, that specifically play into Italian unification. You get an achievement for doing it, but I just couldn't, I was just sitting there playing the game, building up my economy and stuff, and basically nothing happened in terms of Italian unification other than Sardinia Piedmont signed a paper that said they would be in favor of it. I couldn't make any moves against Sardinia Piedmont or Tuscany or the Papal States or anything. I couldn't make any moves against them for whatever reason. I was just stuck there. I was just stuck there, and it was dumb. It was dumb, and it was annoying. I'm pretty sure some of the only places that have proper flavor events for, doing anything or forming anything are America and Prussia and maybe Austria. I know, meanwhile, there's an entire, they had to make DLCs to add flavor to Brazil and France. It's like, oh, great. Brazil and France flavors. Cool. Now, could it actually be proper content instead of just flavor? I don't know. It all feels very disorganized in a way. I don't know. I don't even know how I totally feel about it. It feels promising, There's just something there. Something there that's missing. Something there, and I can't quite pinpoint what it is, but it's... whatever it is, it's missing. But anyway, I'm rambling on like nonsense now. There are a few things with college stuff I need to handle, so I think now is when I'm going to stop recording, even though it is most certainly very, very early for what one would consider a standard podcast episode. But regardless, I hope you all still enjoyed on some level me rambling for however long this will end up being. And yeah, this has been TheRatMan, and I will see you all later. And lastly, a special thank you shout out to Mike Uniturtle and Reese. Thank you.